Isolation streak plate. To begin the isolation streak plate method, you must first obtain your bacteria mix. Aseptic technique is critical to success of isolation. So the first step will be flaming the loop. Here we will be isolating mix A, which contains 2 bacteria growing together. After flaming the loop, flame the mouth of the tube and obtain your inoculum. The first inoculation of the plate will cover 1/3 of the plate. When that has been completed, flame the loop. Now, using a sterile loop and allowing the loop to cool, place the now sterile loop in the center of the first section that you inoculated. Drag some of the bacteria over and make a single streak inoculation. A second flaming of the loop is not always required, but can be done. You will then drag across the second line of inoculation to create a third. The idea in the isolation streak plate is to move less and less bacteria across the plate so they will eventually be growing in separate colonies. This will allow isolation of a single colony and transfer of it to an agar slant. You will be required to use the isolation streak plate method in your unknown project. Shown here is a proper isolation streak plate. Red pigmented Serratia marcescens and Micrococcus luteus were used to show contrast between the 2 different organisms. Which organism do you think would be easiest to isolate from this plate? Organism B would be the best organism to isolate from the plate. Shown here is a completed isolation streak plate. Notice in the first and second quadrant the bacteria are far too close together to be isolated or grown separately. The third quadrant, however, shows enough isolation that a single colony could be isolated. The isolation streak plate technique is an essential tool in the microbiologist's toolbox. Without isolation, we would not be able to determine the distinguishing characteristics and activities of different bacteria.